Hello, today we would like to talk about the safe use of fire extinguishers in the workplace. Before we explore the various methods of extinguishing a fire, we must first consider how a fire works. A fire is a chemical reaction involving three components. These are oxygen, fuel, and a source of heat or ignition. The removal of one of these components from a fire will result in the fire being extinguished. It is therefore the objective of a fire extinguisher to remove at least one of these three components. We are now going to look at some of the key points of fire extinguishers in general. Fire extinguishers found in the workplace will vary in terms of their shape, their size, and most importantly, the fire extinguishing material contained within them. The reason for having different types of fire extinguisher is that the fire extinguishing materials contained within them in most cases are only effective on certain types of fire. Using the wrong type of fire extinguisher on a fire can be very dangerous. It is therefore essential before using a fire extinguisher that you ensure that it's the correct type of fire extinguisher for the fire in hand. Fire extinguishers have key components which must be periodically checked. One such component is a pressure gauge, which is fitted on most fire extinguishers to show that the fire extinguisher has the correct level of charge. The dial on the pressure gauge should always remain within the green area. Another component which must be checked is a plastic safety seal, which, if removed, cannot be refitted. The safety seal loops through the locking pin, which is located between the two trigger handles of the fire extinguisher, preventing them from being depressed. The final item to be checked is that the fire extinguisher has been serviced by a competent person within the last 12 months. This is identified by a sticker on the fire extinguisher detailing the date of the last service and the date the next service is due. We are now going to look at the different types of fire extinguisher and the types of fire each can be used on. The first type of fire extinguisher we're going to look at is water, which can be identified by its red label. Water can be used on Class A fires, which includes wood, paper and soft furnishings. To use a water fire extinguisher, you must remove the pin, aim the nozzle at the base of the fire, squeeze the handles and move the nozzle in a sweeping motion. The next type of fire extinguisher we're going to look at is the foam type, which is identifiable by its cream label. A foam fire extinguisher can be used on both Class A and Class B fires. A Class B fire is a fire which involves flammable or combustible liquids such as petrol, oil or grease. To use a foam fire extinguisher, you remove the pin, aim the nozzle at the base of the fire and squeeze the two handles, discharging the foam. The objective is to use the foam as a blanket over the top of the fire, which will exclude the oxygen. The next type of fire extinguisher we're going to look at is the carbon dioxide, which is identifiable by its black label. A carbon dioxide fire extinguisher can be used in Class B fires and also on electrical fires. To use a CO2 fire extinguisher, you remove the locking pin, aim the horn at the base of the fire and squeeze the handles to discharge the CO2. This type of fire extinguisher does not have a pressure gauge and is fitted with a horn rather than a hose. Once discharged, the horn will be frozen due to cold CO2. Care must be taken not to touch the horn in this condition as it could burn your skin. The last type of extinguisher we're going to look at is the dry powder fire extinguisher, which is identifiable by its blue label. Dry powder fire extinguishers can be used on Class A, B, C and electrical fires. A Class C fire is a fire which involves flammable gases. To use a dry powder fire extinguisher, you remove the locking pin, aim the hose at the base of the fire and squeeze the handles to discharge the dry powder. You must move the hose in a sweeping motion until the fire is extinguished. A smaller and more portable dry powder fire extinguisher should be carried by all field service engineers in their service van. We are now going to go over the steps that should be taken if you find a small fire. The first step you should take on discovering a small fire is to raise the alarm to other people in the area to allow them to evacuate. If competent to do so, you must then obtain a suitable fire extinguisher for the type of fire. At the location of the fire, remove the pin, aim at the base, discharge the extinguisher and move in a sweeping motion until the fire is fully extinguished.